Alright, so I'm back with another video, and in this video it's going to be the third part in the Jobava London series for Jobava January. So I just played this game, pretty solid game, beat a 2150 or so with the Jobava London, and it was a pretty quick game. It was a 15 plus 10 game, but this game was over within 18 moves, so it was a quick game. 93.4% accuracy according to the engine, but I never really gave away my advantage. I never gave him an advantage, and it was equal at best. So we started off with d4, knight f6, and I wanted to steer this into a Jobava London, so I went knight c3, and fortunately he complied and went d5. So here we are after bishop f4. We're in the characteristic Jobava London position, and then he goes bishop f5. So this is a reasonable way of playing against it. And I used to go f3 and g4, h4 against this, but I decided to play it a little bit more solidly, taking after some of Hans Niemann's recommendations, where he likes going e3 and then f3, and then playing it a little bit more solidly. No need to commit all these pawns on the king side, but that is certainly a way to play it. So he went e6 here, so he's just preparing to bring this bishop out, and I go f3. So I'm kind of making him think here if he wants to go, or if I want to go g4, h4, and rush him. So he does have to think about that. And the way he deals with that is he goes bishop to d6. So he is offering a trade of bishops, and g4 is a little bit sketchy now, because then he can take on f4 and double my pawns, and it's not necessarily exactly what I want to be doing. So I play a more solid approach, and I take on d6, or trade these bishops, and then I just develop my bishop. And although g4 is a way of playing, I felt like this might have been a more solid approach. Although I think there's something to be said for leaving this bishop on f1 and playing g4, bishop g6, h4, h5, pushing these pawns and not offering this trade. But it's something that I'm willing to do in order to just get a comfortable position and develop my pieces. I want to bring this bishop out, and then I want to put this knight behind it. So he goes c6 here, maybe stopping ideas with knight b5 at the right time, but also just solidifying d5 so he can look to play e5 at some point. And I just develop my knight to e2, which makes a lot of sense. And then he castles, which is, believe it or not, this is the losing move, because I'm able to get in a quick e4 pawn break here. And this is going to turn out to be really good, because first of all, I'm threatening his bishop. And if he moves his bishop, so say bishop to g6, this would lose to e5 with the devastating fork. So he's kind of in trouble here. So he takes on e4, and I take back, and the same problem arises. If you move the bishop here, e5 is still hitting. So there's really no way to avoid this this problem. So he goes bishop takes e4, just giving up a piece, and then trying to go take this b pawn. But unfortunately, he's just going to be losing here. I play c3, block the check, give up this b pawn, and then I just decide to castle. Yeah, rook b1 followed by rook takes b7 could be better, but I just wanted to get my king to safety and then focus on attacking him on the king side. So he dropped his queen back. I develop my knight, and the plan is to just bring my queen out to h5 and start building a mating attack. So he develops his knight, and then I do that. So he goes g6 here, which is fine, and I go queen to h6. And right here, he has to go f5, idea being just to blunt this diagonal. After f5, I would just drop my bishop back to either d3 or c2, and then I would probably reposition it on this diagonal, since this diagonal would no longer be so great, and he would create a weakness on e6 with that move. However, he makes the losing move with e5, and unfortunately this move loses to a nice tactic. So I'll give you a second if you want to think about what would white play here. White to move and win. It's actually a mate in 3. All right, so the killer move that actually forced my opponent's resignation in this position. There are actually 2 moves that win, but one of them is slightly more precise, and the winning idea here is knight to h5. So this is a nice move. Idea being I'm bringing my knight into the attack. So the knight is converging on g7, so I would be threatening queen to g7 with checkmate. And there's only one way to stop that, and that is by playing pawn takes knight. And this unfortunately would lead to a checkmate after queen takes h7. So I guess the mate in 3 would be he would insert a useless check here, but then I just take back. So after knight h5, he throws in the towel because there's no way to stop either queen takes h7 checkmate or queen g7 checkmate. So thought this was a nice finish and caught my opponent off guard with the Jobava London, and I was able to get a good position out of the opening that led to a quick win. So Jobava London or Jobava January, keep it coming. So hopefully I'll have more videos out soon, but this was a good game, and I'll see you guys next time.